Happy
Well,
Monday. Happy July.
it is July. Happy all of it. It's Curt and Jen in the morning. This is our podcast, which is happening in the morning, but you can listen whenever you want. We will not judge you at all if you listen in the evening. How's that? Or even the afternoon. Like us, follow us. You can also subscribe. I think that's it, right? You can comment,
Yeah, like, subscribe, follow,
all that stuff.
all the things as we say.
And you can reach out to us if you want. Curt and Jen in the morning at gmail.com. So again, another remote broadcast, as we call it in the biz. Jen, you're in Moses Lake. No,
No, I'm not in
you moved
Moses
on to
Lake, Curt.
Killian.
I am. Here's the deal is that
Yeah.
we were in Moses Lake all weekend long. And when I say we, it was me, Macy, who's my youngest daughter, Pat, my boyfriend, and then other family and friends. And it was epic, and I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But then Pat and I continued on to, well, we're continuing on to Manson, which is in Lake Chelan, but we decided to do a little side tour to Banks Lake because I've never been to Banks Lake before. Have you?
No, and when you sent that text, you're like, we're going to Banks Lake. It's like I didn't know that was on the itinerary, but yeah,
It
that's where
was
you are.
amazing. It's amazing
Mhm.
there. And I don't know why, over living over 50 years in the Pacific Northwest, that I've never been there. I've heard all about it. And I'm telling you, you need to go. It's beautiful.
Okay.
We were stayed at, I should say, Steamboat Rock, I think is what it was called, State Park.
Okay.
Walked all around yesterday, but there's this much service there. Zero.
Oh, you mean like cell service or
So we got up early, wheels up in the motorhome at 6:30 and found a spot where there is some internet. And we
well, you
are
did good.
literally sitting in the middle of a parking lot in Electric City, a park, like a baseball slash skateboard gravel parking lot, just
Okay.
parked so we can do this little podcast.
Well, it's but we can see you and we can hear you. So that's really all that matters, right?
Yes.
And
So,
seeing and hearing.
Kurt, 4th of July week, 4th of July week, and many people, half of Americans think they should get the full 4th of July week off, and I agree.
I like those Americans then. Although, yeah, the whole week. I mean, yeah. Well, I
I
suppose
mean,
I'm.
here's the thing. At least I don't even know that 4th of July needs to be the holiday we celebrate. It should be the day after because the holiday typically isn't even celebrated till later in the day and especially at night.
That's true, but still, the whole week. We don't
I
even get
mean,
a
I'm
week off for
I'm
like.
on board.
We don't get a week off for Christmas or New Year's Eve or Thanksgiving, even.
Here's the
Even.
here's the thing about it. Number one, summertime. People love the summer, and I think that so many people would just use that week to get outside. That would be my hope. Number two, people aren't even productive during the week of 4th of July anyway. They
You can say that on
reported
any
that. There's
holiday.
statistics that say it.
People aren't productive the week of Halloween either. Let's make it a whole week. That's kind of funny because they're saying, well, we're going to be hungover probably from too much partying. So you know what? Yeah, give us some extra days off.
I mean,
And I can't say I disagree 100%, but I can see how it could go either way. I'm just being devil's advocate here. How's
you
that?
aren't wrong. You aren't wrong. We'll use that for anything.
So the whole week, well, we'll see if that ever comes to be. So you had something you wanted to share about
Okay.
the weekend?
Yes, Moses Lake. My heart is super full because we got to spend so much time with friends and family, build all
Okay.
kinds of great memories in the sand dunes. We went riding, we had beach time, but then we got a little dose of reality, and Macy got to witness some of it. And that is their life flight. I think that's what it's called. Life flight had to come into the dunes to get someone. And
Ooh,
it's a risk that you take when you do things in general, right? I mean, if you're living
soon to
life,
step out the door.
it's a risk. And especially, you up that risk factor when you do things like riding side by sides and quads and dirt bikes in the dunes. And people ride too, if you're riding too fast and not paying attention. I mean, Pat has taught Macy how to ride in the dunes, and he's a really good teacher, like super cautious, still have fun, still do jumps, still do all the great things. But your head is on a swivel, you're looking all the time. You are When you crest a hill, you slow down because you don't know what's on the other side of that hill. And someone didn't do that part of it. They crested a hill and went and didn't slow down, and it was a drop off. Yeah.
Oh,
And so we got, so here's what happened. This is good story time.
all right.
We're a bunch of us are back at the camp, you know, having fun, doing whatever. And so, and one of our other people from our party that were out happened to be out riding came screaming back saying, Pat, someone's down. They can't feel their legs. That's
Ooh.
what happened. And so Pat, the person got in the side by side and they zoomed out to where they were and he helped that person. I mean, he held them steady until the paramedics got there and we saw all the sirens go by our camp, and then we saw the helicopter come in, and it sounds like the guy's going to be fine. Pat came back to camp and said he could feel his legs. He probably just had some, quick trauma and couldn't feel them at first, but he had a broken femur for sure.
Oof.
Like,
Well, again,
not quite broken skin out of the leg, but could see it.
well, for those that don't know, Pat is he's a firefighter and an EMT. They still call it EMT, or is it something
Yeah.
different?
Yeah.
So he was a good guy to have nearby.
Never off duty. That's what we said. Never off duty. His son even said, Dad, that's why Dad can't get, not like Pat gets sloppy drunk, but he's always on duty. And in those situations out in the dunes, he wants to be able to help. So
Right.
anyway,
Right.
it was
Good
yeah,
guy,
a little
and
dose of reality.
I'm glad that that person seems like they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
My
It's a
excitement for
good,
the weekend. You just got really bright. What happened? Did you
I
open
think
a?
I think it's the sun coming into the
Okay, good. Your camera's trying to adjust. I can see that. Okay, for those
I'm
that aren't,
literally in the
let's just
motorhome.
move on for people that aren't watching, that are just listening. We
Can I also tell you one more thing that we did that I never even knew existed and has been around for years, I guess, because Pat used to do it with his boys when they were young and now they are full grown.
What's that?
We left Banks Lake last night, drove up to Cooley Dam, the Grand Cooley Dam, and watched the laser show. So they start turning on the water. So you get
Oh,
to see the water turn on with the dam. They start filling up, the walls fill up with water, and then they
right.
do a laser show on the water wall.
Very cool. Grand Coulee Dam. They do this like every weekend?
Every night, 10 p.m.
Oh,
Every
all
night in the
right.
summer, at least. Yeah. So
That's
if you're looking
cool.
for something to do with the family and want to do a little road trip, I think it's totally worth it. I mean, the Grand Coulee Dam, I learned a lot, and we're going on a tour this morning. I'm excited.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, take pictures like you weren't going to already,
I
right?
know. What did you do
Uh,
this weekend, Curt? Tell me.
well, I was sort of being lighthearted about it on Friday. We're going to go see Danny Saravine, who was the original drummer for the band Chicago,
Oh, that's right.
and he is touring. There's Chicago. The band is still touring, and it's a hodgepodge of the original. Like I think it's three original members. There's this guy, and then the trumpet player, whatever. I'm not sure about that. However, this was the original drummer from Chicago, one of the original guitarists from Chicago, and they were phenomenal. They had the brass section there. They had, I mean, and this is at the Dimitri's Jazz Alley, which is a pretty small place. It was a relatively small stage for 8 musicians to be
In
on.
downtown, it's in
Downtown
downtown
Seattle.
Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal. It's one of the ones you go into say, oh, this will be cool. Some live music and good food and friends. And then you leave there going, man, I had no idea. This guy's like in the he got a Lifetime Achievement Award, Grammy Award, I believe, or for
No
the,
way.
yeah, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to say that it changed my mind because I didn't really know what to expect. But it's nice when you go to something that you are like with Grand Coulee Dam. You go there, okay, we'll go check it out, and you leave like, wow, that was really good. So highly recommend Danny Saravine and the CTA, which is the original name of Chicago. Like for the first album, they were Chicago Transit Authority. Then the actual Chicago Transit Authority said, can't use that name. So they just shortened it to
Oh.
Chicago. In 1968 is when they started.
So does Danny still tour with Chicago?
No, they don't. They're two separate things. And I
Okay.
think that and Peter Cetera, who was, legendary lead singer for a long time, also
Yes.
tours separately and probably does Chicago songs. So you have 3 bands doing the best in Chicago, which,
Wow.
I'm old enough to remember. I was actually very young at the time, but they were a monster band. It was like, you
Chicago?
think, yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
hit after hit going through the early mid 70s. It was,
Love all
they
their
were
music. Love it.
mega, as you would say.
Mega.
So
Okay.
let's move on to this since people are going to be traveling. I mean, I know that we've got a travel weekend coming up at the 4th, and more, coming up before the end of the summer. Flight attendants are chiming in. Flight attendants are saying, here's the one thing flight attendants wish passengers would stop doing on planes. When I say the one thing, they asked this of flight attendants. If you had to say one thing, what would it be? So there are several different answers. However, the big one
It's not what you'd
was
expect, because you'd expect, stay in your seat, when the seatbelt sign is on and buckle your seatbelt up. Like it's not that. They want you to do that, and you have to do that.
right. I guess the going into the bathroom or the lav, as they call it on the plane, going into the lav barefoot.
Barefoot.
Passengers use the bathrooms all the time on the air, either bare feet or only socks on.
Why?
This is what the flight attendant said. During our training, we learned that the liquid, oh God, the liquid on the lavatory floor is often more than just water. Surprise, surprise, right?
Duh, everybody.
Airplane lavatories are used frequently by so many passengers during flights. So I don't even read about the germs and pathogens and contamination and everything in there, from the door handles, flush buttons, sink faucets, toilet seat, all bad news. And it all gets smushed around and then lands on the floor.
And here's the thing, there was an infectious disease physician that weighed in on this too. And they said, listen, walking barefoot exposes your feet to all the stuff that you said, the bacteria, the viruses, the fungi that can enter in through any kind of cuts or abrasions on your feet. So first of all, it's bad for your health. And then beyond that, it's gross and inconsiderate of other passengers.
So if you must, well, I wonder if they'd say just like at least leave your socks on the entire flight, because people will take their shoes off when they're at their seat.
I do that, but I put them back on when I go walk around.
There you go. Because some people would say, just leave your dang shoes on the whole time. Why not? I do. I just loosen the shoelaces because you're going to get that swelling from the decompression. I guess that's what it is. Whatever, So all right.
Just don't go barefoot in the bathroom when you're on the plane. Don't do it.
Stevie Nicks. Heard of Stevie Nicks?
I love this. I wanted to mention this, Curt, because I really enjoy Taylor Swift and what she brings to this world. And I love Fleetwood Mac, and Stevie, the lead singer of Fleetwood Mac, went to Taylor Swift's concert in Dublin last night, the Eras Tour concert. And Taylor Swift did this touching tribute to Stevie Nicks because she's been such a big influence on her life.
Oh, man. That's,
I don't know this song. I don't know Clara Bow.
Is that Clara Bow? I think there was I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a Taylor Swift original, but I thought there was a classic, like when you were first learning to play. I could be wrong. I thought that was one of the songs you first learned to play when you were learning an instrument, was like called Clara Bow from way back when. However, I'm sure that it is Taylor's version, no pun intended, of Clara Bow, which is not the simple what I learned to play on trumpet when I was in 5th grade.
Oh, okay. I had no idea, but she mentions Stevie Nicks, the Fleetwood Mac singer, in that song. And she just went on and on about what an influence Stevie Nicks has been, and kind of been a trailblazer for women in music, and how much she loves her and respects her and has become a friend.
Fantastic.
Anyway, yeah.
And also, if you get a chance to see the video, I'll keep this quick. Michael J. Fox over the weekend he was at Glastonbury, that's not the same one we're talking about here in Dublin. I don't think it is, but he was invited to go up on stage and he played guitar with Coldplay in front of so many people at Glastonbury. Yeah. So, and he said it was unbelievable. Yeah. So, obviously,
look at that video for sure.
Yes, he was on a wheelchair. They brought him on stage. He had his guitar, and that was really, really a cool moment.
I'm gonna look that up.
All right.
Okay, Curt, how do you feel about a pickle bun sandwich?
I don't know what a pickle bun sandwich is.
So there's this, it's all the rage on TikTok right now. Seriously, this deli is going like
cutting a pickle and using it as the bun.
Yes.
I think
so there's this deli in Oceanside, Long Island, New York. It's called Seven Brothers Gourmet. And some TikTok foodie person posted about this. And now like people are traveling from all over the place, and this little tiny deli in this little tiny town is going gangbusters. They take those giant pickles, the kind that you can get in Disneyland. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. They're almost like a foot long or something.
Slice them the long way in half. They take out the pickle, like the pickle seed. They I don't know what they call it. They take that core out, and they use that part to make pickle fries. And then they make the sandwich and on both sides, and then smash them together and then eat them. It looks delicious.
Just like it sounds, the pickle is the bun on the sandwich.
Yes.
I would love to try that. I do like the pickles, but at first I was thinking, if you just cut a pickle in half and you got all the seeds and Well, the
Nope,
goodness in it.
they core it out.
All right. So, but you got to go right now. You got to go to Oceanside to try that.
Well, here's the
Why don't you
thing.
try it at home?
People are, you can't, where do you get those giant pickles for real? I don't even know where to go get those giant pickles.
Amazon? No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
Well,
seriously.
probably.
Seriously.
Or you can go to Wayfair. They've got just what you need. Giant pickles. All right.
So anyway,
It's July 1st. And so it's 3 days away, 3 or 4 days away from one of your favorite holidays. You get so excited about 4th of July.
I love celebrating our country.
And just so you know, since you think we never take the boat out, we invited a whole bunch of people to come out in the boat on the 4th while you're gone.
Of course you did, Curt.
That was in the back of my head. I was like, Jen's gonna be pissed. We can think about it anytime you want.
But
These are
I'm proud of you. Good for you, Curt.
well, we don't always get the kind of weather you want, and we are going to have. Let me see if I can call it up and you can see it because you don't have great service there. But and I actually have found that this weather thing on my phone is not always great. But I'm going to hold up the camera so you can see.
Full sunshines. Full
Starting
sunshines
Wednesday.
in the Pacific Northwest starting on Wednesday.
Today is sunny. Tomorrow partly sunny. Then sun.
Oh my gosh.
Highs up in the 80s. So
You're gonna be taking that boat out every single night, Curt.
That sounds like a threat, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay,
things to look forward to in July.
Yay!
Yeah, yeah. It's well, of course, I think the big news is Summer Olympics. They start coming up. A couple events, the 24th and 25th, but the big show for the Olympics officially start on the 26th of July, run through August 11th.
That's in Paris.
Mm-hmm. How about
I forgot they were happening, so this is a good reminder.
You forgot they were happening?
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm to the point now with let me see, we've been not at radio station since April 1st. Still can't believe they did that on April Fool's Day, but whatever. I'm to the point now where I have to ask people what day of the week it is.
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
have to. I don't have to, but I was like, what? So today is, what is this? This is Sunday?
Yeah. Good for
so,
you. That's good.
Other things going on. You've got Wimbledon on the 14th, going through the 14th, Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The WNBA All-Star Game is the 20th. And what has happened with that sport, I hesitate to say it because it's obviously a bit of a hot topic, is Caitlin Clark, and what they're actually calling the Caitlin Clark effect. She is the superstar that was at the University of Iowa. She got drafted by the Indiana Fever, and they have been improving. But the numbers that they're saying, for attendance at the actual games, and in particular, some of the games, I believe if there's a really good competitor as well. And a lot of teams have got great players. Don't get me wrong about that. But some of the teams, like I think they had 3 million plus viewers of a game, which was like the all-time record. I know I'm butchering this because I forget what the team was. Maybe it was the Chicago Sky. Anyway, the WNBA is exploding, and that's fantastic. It's been around forever, but due to the attention, sometimes not the greatest attention, and she gets bummed out about it. But Caitlin Clark is bringing a lot of people to the sport. So,
Great.
And now I'm going to get yelled at for saying it's not all about Caitlin Clark. I get it, but what about all the other years before this when the WNBA was not getting the respect it deserved, was not getting the viewership it deserved? Here's the thing.
You know what the good part about it is it's growing.
Yes.
It's growing. So that's a great thing. What you didn't mention, Curt, is Nathan's hot dog eating contest, which was on 4th of July, traditionally on the 4th of July, but not traditionally this year. No Joey Chestnut.
Which is huge, by the way. Let me just jump in here. Our old co-worker, Leonard Barocas, was a huge fan of Joey Chestnut. I think they got to interview him on the Kent and Allen show at one point. The deal with Joey Chestnut, you told me this, he struck some kind of a deal with the Impossible Meats, Impossible Burger,
Impossible Foods Company. And so that's a direct competitor of Nathan's hot dog. So they're like, you're banned. You're not coming in. We're not letting you compete.
Well, I imagine his deal with Impossible Meats is probably much more valuable than the once a year being the grand champion Nathan's hot dog eating contest guy. Well, but have you ever seen him? He's a small dude.
I know. I get it. All right, there's lots of other things in July that are happening. There's big movies throughout this month. Despicable Me 4 is out this Wednesday. I can't believe that Eddie Murphy's coming back. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F movie on Netflix is coming out on Wednesday.
Beverly Hills Cop movie, which we'll see. I mean, it's I would kind of like to see that, but I'm going into it sort of half expecting it to not be very good. So we'll
Yeah.
see. How about Twisters? Not Twister, Twisters
Huh.
is the well, you remember Twister? There's
Yeah. Yeah.
Cow with Helen Hunt and Bill
Yeah.
Paxton.
Is that a
That
remake of it or a continuation of it?
I believe it's a continuation. It's
Okay.
it's not a remake. So and also Deadpool and
I'm
Wolverine.
excited.
I
July
really like those
26th.
characters, and I like that they're really good friends in real life too.
Yes.
Now I can't think of his name. Well, of course it's Ryan Reynolds and the other
Uh,
good dude,
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, the other good looking dude. We posted
They're
on
both good looking.
Friday. Yes. Um, what did we have? Oh, we were talking about how somebody said when my spouse or cleans the house, it's a turn on. It was a woman. She said when my husband cleans the house, that is a turn on, right? Just from
Right.
doing odds and ends around the house.
Yeah.
So we wanted to know what is a thing that your partner does that you find to be a turn on, and we're not saying, dresses up in that special, chaps.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's read some of the comments that people wrote.
All right. Things your partner does that turn you on. Rebecca said, mine lets me go to bed whenever I want and get up whenever I sleep in, etc. Okay, that's a turn on. But you're
Well,
asleep for a lot of it.
she was being sarcastic if you read the rest of it, Curt, because she had a dot 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 with a
I'm
laughing out
single.
loud
Oh.
face. She's single. She's single right now.
How
Brian,
about our
I
friend
like this.
Brian?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Brian said getting dressed, particularly dressed up.
There's a turn on for you. Hey, looking
Yeah.
good. Tux, Brian. Sorry
Dorothy
about the
said
crazy
when
voice.
he turns on my heat or cooled seat in the car before I get in, and he used to unlock my door before when we first started dating, which was 28 years ago, but now he just uses the clicker.
Let me just say in defense of guys that the clicker is easy enough, yeah, but often, particularly if you're parked, say you park between cars, along the road or something like that, or it's almost more of a pain in the butt to get around there and open the door, and then Dana sneaks through and she gets in and I close it. I'm not against opening the door. It's just more work than I think is necessary and takes longer. Does that make me like not care, or
No,
am I
I mean, I
being too
think
reasonable?
sometimes, I think that, do you normally open the door for her and uh,
If
in
there's yeah, if the car is parked and there's room,
yeah,
yeah.
I think there's situations where it just makes more sense. Pat's really good about doing that same thing. And there's times where I'm like, babe, don't worry about it. Like, don't come around in this tight little space. Like, I got it. But
Well, I
most of the
make a
time,
big
he'll
deal.
insist on doing it anyway.
I make a big deal when I don't do it. I'd be like, "Can you get the door by yourself this time, babe?" And she's like, "Oh, this one time, yeah, mister. I'm on to you." Again, things that turn you on that your partner does. Laurel said, um, after 47 years of marriage, this is on June 25th,
Yay.
Steve, who is retired, will always tell me to be safe when I leave the house and stand on the front porch and wave at me.
Oh,
Wow.
cute.
No matter how long I'm gone, he always tells me he misses me when I was gone.
I
That's a good
love
dude
that.
right there. Steve, keep it up. How about Brittany? What did Brittany
Yeah,
say?
she loves it when her partner wears his baseball cap backwards. That's
Mm,
funny that she mentions that because Pat had his baseball cap on backwards in Moses because he was working on the motorhome. Something happened to the
right.
motorhome on the way over. I didn't even mention that, but he had to work on it. He had to go, Curt, Pat had to go weld a part when we were in Moses. He called a bunch of people. Some guy had a welding shop. He's like, yeah, come on in. You can just weld it yourself because he does welding, of course, too.
Because he does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could call a welder. I just, what, I probably wouldn't even know to do that. If the part was broken, I'd be like, okay, well, I got to buy a new one. Pat, like, no,
He
no.
engineered, he has a whole, like his motorhome is equipped. You could do a pit. He has a pit. It's like a pit stop, right? He
Oh,
opens
cool.
up one of the compartments. It's all the tools he needs and he can do anything.
I am just a little bit jealous of that, just so
And
you
that's
know.
what turns me on about him. That's like one of those everyday things is he can just fix anything and everything.
Yeah. Dana likes it when I do, I don't know, hot, sweaty outside work.
She does.
Hot and
That's what
sweaty.
turns her on.
Yeah, that's one thing. She's like, "Ooh, that's pretty hot, babe." And maybe
I
she's,
didn't I
I don't know.
didn't ask Pat that question. I should have asked him what he thought. Let me ask him. Want me to ask him? I want to ask him. What does Dana do? What does Dana do that turns you on?
What does Dana do that turns me on? I would have to say, get like you said, somebody said getting dressed. I
Oh
said, but yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
that's
Okay, hold on. Pat, what's an everyday thing that I do that turns you on?
careful, buddy. He can't hear me.
Yeah, quickly. My positivity and happiness.
Wow.
Thanks,
That
honey.
was a safe answer. I'm not sure it was 100% accurate, but okay. Your smile. Oh, you're so positive. Now I'm turned on. Yeah. You can't question it. People got their things, right?
All right,
Okay.
I love this, and I did double check it with Hot Firefighter Pat.
Okay. You go ahead with
This
this
is
one.
from first responders, and I'm going to say it is a listed. I'm going to tell you it's a list because we're not going to name all of them, but it's worth going back to read. It's on BuzzFeed.com. All the I forwarded this article to my girls, to my two daughters, saying, please, please read this because it's just important life things that you don't necessarily think about. So it's what to do or not to do in dangerous situations, or just things to do to keep safe.
Right. Mostly, yeah. It's actually both of these things. Like they start off with the one, and these are professionals, most of the professionals that offered their
Yes.
advice on these things. Like, so, okay, so what to do or not to do in a dangerous situation. This actually is a little bit different. The EMT saying, do not put your feet on the dashboard. And I know that a lot of people want to ride with their, I mean, they got the windows down. Sometimes people put their feet out the window, but if you get into an accident with your feet up there and the airbag goes off, you're going to be a mess.
You
It's
know
no
what?
good.
When Pat and I first started dating, he mentioned that, and I had no idea. He's like, just you don't want to do it. And you
Hmm.
mentioned putting your feet or your arms out the window.
It's another one.
That's another one. Don't do it because if you crash or come too close to a vehicle, you're going to lose the limb. You're likely going to lose the limb.
And I think people are like, well, that'll never happen to me, but it does. It does happen to people.
It does happen to people.
It
Keep a
it
fire
happened to the drummer
extinguisher.
in Def Leppard. Sorry,
Keep a.
it did.
How did he lose his arm?
Car accident. I think that it was. I think the car rolled or whatever, and because he had his hand out the window.
Are you
Let's not go
kidding?
any further into that. That's what happened. Yeah,
Oh my God, I did
it
not know
sounds
that. I should
gruesome. I
know that because I
know.
love that band too. Okay, keep a fire extinguisher in your car, a vehicle fire extinguisher, and those little hammers, that can break a window open or cut
Yes,
your seatbelt off. Keep
those are good
those
to have.
things in the side pocket of your car,
This one
the
here,
door pocket.
I never thought of this, but when you're calling 911, right? You call 911, it says never try to tell the call taker anything besides what they're asking, which I can understand. You're like, oh my God, this is going on. They're like, just calm down. If they ask you to repeat the address, do that or whatever. But I suppose how they put it here, if you start vomiting information, they're going to miss things that might be important because they're running your GPS and trying to get you. So that's
Right.
another one to think. This one as well. I grew up in Cincinnati on the Ohio River, and they teach you about the force of water and the issues with just diving into, especially dark water, like the river where you can't see. Water, it says, is the strongest force on earth. It moves mountains. Never ever assume you can survive in rough moving waters. It will always overpower you. Respect the water. That's a big one.
That
Those undercurrents and stuff like that. People dive into the river and
yeah,
that's it. Never
yeah.
seen again.
And with that, paired with that is wear your life jacket and wear your helmet if you're biking or motorcycling or anything. Just do those things because some people are like, hey, if I'm going to get in an accident, I'm going to die, and I'm going to die. It's just a fine way to go. And the whole point is, I know it's silly, right? But the first responders are like, so many times you don't die and then you have brain injury and now you're alive and living with that.
Not fun at
No.
all.
And we're
So I
not
know
trying to
some of
be
these
downers.
things.
We're just trying
Yeah.
to remind you. I mean, this sounds also terrible, but it's really more about these are things that you can do that are easy that you should keep in mind. Curt, I did, learning the Heimlich remover, having your
Hmm.
first aid CPR card is a great thing to do and renew every
Right.
2 years. But I put the dog thing on there. I
Yep.
did not
Let's
know
keep this
about the
into it.
dog thing.
Keep your dogs restrained in your car. If you're in an accident, they're just going to be an object, and they're going to, come forward at whatever speed you were going, So if you're at 50 and you just hit another car, there goes your dog out the window. So they should be crated or harnessed at the very least. Keep your dogs restrained while you're in the car. That's a good one to end on there. BuzzFeed had these if you want to find out more, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can I just I want to mention this. I did not know that if you call 911 that it will not hang up. Like if you don't have service, you can call 911 and leave your phone on and it will not automatically disconnect. It will wait. It will fight even if it just gets a little bit of service, It will pick it
It'll
up.
go
It will
through.
pick you up.
That is actually a good one to bring up. So I mean, yeah, I didn't know that at all. And that's the wonders of 911,
I
right?
know. Anyway, yes, like you said, worth reading the article if you have time to go to BuzzFeed.com and find it, or just Google the BuzzFeed article, things to keep you safe, or the first
Okay.
responders.
Let's go through this one quickly.
Yeah.
This is for the
Okay.
baristas. We'll
So
wrap
these
up with this.
baristas weighed in and they're like, listen, we stereotype you when you come in and give your coffee order, and we're usually right.
Judge. Yeah. So
We're
they
judges and we're usually right.
baristas.
So
Baristas said, based on your coffee order, we have an idea of what you're like. For instance, here's some of them. People who order chai and matcha beverages are hipsters and chill, and are usually I'm sorry, they're hipsters and chill and usually healthy eaters.
Yep. If you order an espresso frappuccino, you're either an old lady or an old lady in disguise.
Don't tell me that that's what you get, Jen.
Well,
On occasion.
Caramel frappuccino sometimes.
This one says, if you order a cold brew, you're a Kyle. Actually, the sentence is, every Kyle orders a cold brew. So
I had to look up Kyle. Do you know what a Kyle is?
I assumed it was people named Kyle.
No. I thought it was the male version of a Karen, but it's not. A Kyle is like this quiet person that thinks a lot, that doesn't rely on stereotypes himself for the world. It's just a guy that is
sounds like a nerd.
Well, maybe a little bit.
No. How about a introspective, cerebral person? How about that?
Yes. Thank you. That was very smart. That's the smart definition, Curt. I just couldn't remember all those smart words.
And let's jump down to the last one. How about cappuccino drinkers? They tend to be super persnickety.
But not in a bad way. This barista said something about how she appreciates someone who knows what they want and can be specific about it, but not too out of the too many things that are particular.
For the rest of you that order the other drinks, I'm going to whip through these. Americanos, if you order that, you either hate yourselves or you're a cop.
I thought that was funny. And non-fat, skinny, sugar-free, whatever latte people, they're the ones that are usually on their phones, wearing sunglasses, and in a rush with a snobby, entitled attitude.
There you go. If you have a double espresso, what is that? It says doppio espresso. Is that double espresso?
A doppio.
I didn't know what that was. Doppio espresso with a 1/4 inch of milk. You're very high maintenance.
Doppio is I learned about that when I was in Italy.
Okay. Look how smart you are with your Italian knowledge.
I did not realize that there's many people who are in the stereotype is they're cheap, and they kind of are, who order shots of espresso on ice, but then go to the condiment bar and fill up their cup with half and half.
How can you just actually do that in front of somebody? It's like, nah, how's that different than asking for a water glass, then go filling it up with the soda or something? I don't know. Yeah. To each their own, I suppose.
What are we talking about tomorrow?
I like one. Things that we buy. There's the first part. Things we buy, immediately regret buying, and then for some dumb reason, buy it again.
I have some things like that. Let's say
I'll have to work on that.
A gym membership, or maybe exercise equipment, or there's so many examples that we'll post, but we want to know what yours is, because I know all of us have at least one.
Things we buy, immediately regret buying, and then for some dumb reason we later buy it again. I'm trying to think. Over the course of time, I bought 4 motorcycles that way. I'm done with this. This is too dangerous. Sold it. I kind of miss riding a bike. So maybe that's yours. Well, I never regretted buying them though at the beginning, so I don't know if that qualifies. But all right, let us know about that. Things we buy, immediately regret buying, and then we buy them again. You can do that at any of these platforms. You can comment here on if you're watching on YouTube or whatever. Just let us know, and then we will talk all about it tomorrow.
We'll post it on Facebook for sure. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow morning. I will be live from Manson, Washington, in Lake Chelan, shores of Lake Chelan.
I'll be live in Mill Creek, Washington, in the guest bedroom. No, the office. I guess this is the office.
Oh, we hope you guys have a great day. Make good choices, find joy, and spread that kindness all around.